How do people get out of narcissistic relationships?
Firstly is to actually acknowledge that you are in one. But a lot of women don't have the understanding what narcissistic relationships are. It's mind over matter. You know, you're in that situation, and once you get a glimpse of that information and you look at yourself, because when you're in that situation, you don't actually see what you're in. I woke up and I looked at myself in a mirror and I said, I am good enough. This is not me.
Yeah.
And you have to make a conscious decision to leave, whether you have to get help out there.
How do we then, let's say in the workplace, create a safe space for women?
Your staff needs to be motivated. They do. They need to understand the purpose of why they are having their role that they have, and that they have a role to play, and that they are a part of a chain. So collectively, if you are motivated and you feel that you are being heard in a workplace, then obviously that you're bringing ROI, it'll come naturally, because you will know what you're fighting for.
Hello, Resonate community, and welcome to the best and the biggest sales and entrepreneurship podcast in the whole wide world. I miss saying that so much, and I missed you guys so much. We haven't had an episode in the past couple of weeks, and another conversation for another day. But I'm so excited to be talking to you guys today because we are wrapping Women's Month with a bang, okay? The lady I have today talks all things women. So if you're a woman in corporate, in entrepreneurship, a mom, just whatever you are, as long as you are a woman, this episode is for you. But the gents, I need you guys to stick around because this episode is also for you, so you can know how best to further support and just celebrate women more than it is, or more than the efforts that you guys do every August, okay? Today, I have Katia Ribeiro. Am I saying it right?
Yes, you are.
Yes, an empowerment specialist. How are you? And thank you so much for joining us.
I am great, thank you.
Yeah.
And thanks for having me. I'm really excited.
I'm so excited. I've got so many questions for you, but I always say that I get chastised on this podcast if I don't do this as we start, which is a fire round of questions, because we love to know the kind of people that we're talking to. So I want to ask you 2 questions that you have to answer for us, just so that we can kind of nitpick into your brain as a person. And the first simple question is that if you had to exchange careers with anybody in the world, who would it be and why?
Firstly, I don't think I would exchange helping and uplifting women, because that is my passion. So I would stick to that because my aim is to uplift and develop women.
Yeah. Okay, so you'd stick to your thing, this
I would stick to my thing.
But if there was let's say a public figure or somebody you look up to, you would exchange with anything, what would they be?
For me, I wouldn't necessarily say that I would exchange myself with a public figure, because my role model is actually my late mom.
Oh, wow.
So if I had to change roles, I would be my mom, the version that she was when she was still alive.
Sure. Whew. Okay. We are studying on my condolences about your mom. I'm looking forward to hearing more around that journey, and I think the woman that she's actually birthed. And I think, just to do justice to the moment, I want to get right into it and ask you, what is an empowerment specialist, and why is that the path that you chose? I've never heard of that before. I was so intrigued. I was like, what is a woman? It's an empowerment specialist? What is that?
Okay, so a woman empowerment specialist is a person that helps you to thrive in your personal life, in your career, as well as in your business.
Okay.
So where all that stems from is taking it back to when my mom was alive and watching how she upheld herself through her trials and tribulations, where she would always have a smile in her face. She was always positive, and she never really spoke about what it was that was affecting her. Hence, she passed away with a heart attack. So for me, it was like, wow, I had to grow up, feeling like I don't have a voice, feeling like I had to be exactly the way my mom was, not being able to open up and talk about things that affected me in my journey, in my life, so I had to be strong and resilient. And also, when she passed away, then I took over the role of taking care of my brothers. So I had to be the role model for them. So that's where it stems from, because I wanted women to have a voice. to be able to speak about the emotions, to be able to speak about the subjects that are taboo.
Yeah.
Like I went through narcissistic relationships. I went through, building, thinking that I'm building a career, but then nothing was working out. I was just working hard, but I wasn't getting to where I needed to be. I wasn't valued enough. And I also struggled with imposter syndrome, low self-esteem. So those are the things that made me think, why do us as women, keep silent? Why can we not speak about it? Why can we not seek help? And I wanted to be the person that held the hand of a woman and walked the journey with the woman, because I did not have that at that given time.
Sure. That is so powerful. And I think as you're saying that, I'm thinking about all these roles that as women, we have, like being a parent, sometimes not only to your own children, but to like your siblings, as especially if you're the firstborn daughter. And also your workplace, partner, relationships, and a lot of things. And every time we get into August, why can't I speak? It's like every time we get into August, there is a lot of events that come out that talk about women empowerment and women this and women this. And I think because now we kind of sort of used to it, everybody just kind of feels like, this woman empowerment thing is like, it's boring. Why do you guys have it? We go there, we sing Kumbaya, and all of like everything else is okay. And I'm curious to hear from you. Why do you think the perception around the term, or rather the movement of women empowerment, has changed so much?
For me, I feel that the word empowerment is out there a lot. People are having events, but we're not diving deeper into what women actually need. Women need financial stability, financial independence, in order to leave that abusive relationship, in order to further themselves personally. Women need to develop themselves. They need to be the better version of themselves. Yes, it's all good and well. You go to an event, you get the information, you feel uplifted because you're surrounded by women, that probably have bigger problems than you. And when you look at those women, you feel like, okay, it's not so bad. I don't have to be alone in this journey. But it's an event. What happens when you leave that event? What happens after that? I think that us as women and as a community and as a collective should be doing so much more than just having these women empowerment events. What are we doing that goes deeper than an event? Deeper than just your basic information. Deeper than that. Because women in abusive relationships that have families, that have children, where do they go? They need a place to go to. What are we doing about that? And also, in terms of financial stability, sometimes women don't leave those relationships. And talking from my own personal experience, women don't leave that relationship because you think, how am I going to make it in the world on my own? So who is there to support those type of women, And that's why I say, for me, yes, it's beautiful. The events are uplifting because it's a community coming together to straighten each other's crowns. But what are we doing deeper than the surface?
So there has to be something beyond that. Like we can talk about financial wellness, but at the end of the day, we need to have some form of structure and system that supports the woman right after the event, so that she's actually more equipped to handle her finances. I love that so much because it really speaks into actions. And we at Resonate Podcast are very action driven around what can we do. And you mentioned something about having been in a narcissistic relationship before. And on the podcast, we talk a lot about starting businesses. We talk about doing a lot of things. And from a woman perspective, sometimes it could be the other partner that is like stopping them from actually moving forward and starting that business. And I think there is a reality that not everybody has a fully fledged supportive partner in their relationships or within their surrounding. And I'm curious to hear from you, how do people get out of narcissistic relationships? Or how do you, let's say, start walking the journey of that?
Firstly, is to actually acknowledge that you are in one. Because in the beginning, you go through all that, that the person is putting you through. You see the signs, but a lot of women don't have the understanding what narcissistic relationships are. And that information is only starting to get out now. That is only, remember, like I said, the subjects were taboo. People didn't feel like you can come to the next person and talk. You wait
Yeah.
till you heal. You wait till you feel better. You know, everyone has different ways of dealing with their depression.
Yeah.
But, you know, for me, it's mind over matter. You know, you're in that situation, and once you get a glimpse of that information and you look at yourself, because when you're in that situation, you don't actually see what you're in. But the next person, the outside person, will be able to see that these are the signs. Something's not right here.
Yeah.
But you will be in it, and you will always think that it's okay, you know, when something is done wrong to you, and then there's forgiveness.
Yeah.
And then it's like a cycle. It's a toxic cycle. So it's understanding what a narcissistic relationship is.
Yeah.
And also it's making up your mind that you yourself will not take that anymore. Because what I found is your friends, your family, anyone can tell you that this person is not good enough for you. This person is just not good enough for you, and you are blind. You are
Yes.
blind to it. You cannot see that this person is not good enough for you. But once you have that information at hand and you
Yeah.
start going through everything and you say, oh, but this is what the person is doing, keeping me away from my friends and family. Oh, you know, the way the person speaks down on me, I am better than that. And one day when you wake up, like I woke up and
Yeah.
I looked at myself in a mirror and I said, I am good enough. This is not me.
Yeah.
And you have to make a conscious decision to leave, whether you have to get help out there, you know,
Yeah.
to have somebody that you can speak to, which I am there for women, you know,
Yeah.
to hold that hand with you and tell you that you can. Once you have positive people around you that are there to tell you that you can do it, and you yourself have made up your mind that you deserve better in
Yeah.
life, then that is when your whole world changes. Your whole world changes. And even if it is baby steps that you take to get out of that situation,
Yeah.
but once you're out, the freedom is amazing.
Sure. And you know, as you're saying that, I mean, I was in a very dysfunctional relationship in the past. And my getting out of it was very hard. But my getting out of it is that I had to stay with a friend, like literally a close best friend, I would call you, like as good as family. Not to stay with her. The way that they encouraged me was so good. And I see myself then, and then I see myself now with the relationship with
see.
my husband. And it's like, it's so different. It's like you thrive so much more. You have so much belief in yourself.
You
There's just so, it's like you are present, you know, and love and life is not supposed to feel like you're being pressed down
Yes.
and, you know, like you have to move around differently because the person
Oppression.
yes, and all of that. You don't have to. And I think a lot of women need to come to the awakening that sometimes the proceeding of your purpose lies in you actually fighting for yourself and moving forward. Like there's some things you will not achieve as long as you're still with that person because of how they are holding you back and how they are knocking your confidence.
So very true.
Yeah.
Because it's deep down inside.
Yes.
I mean, it lies right there. It's in you. It is who you are.
Yeah.
But you are oppressing yourself. So you've lost yourself, and then you get into a depression.
Yeah.
But the minute you come out of that, you will see that you can rise, and there's so much more that you can achieve in life. But you do need that support. You need that support system. Like I said, you had a friend. There are women out there that don't have that, that maybe don't even have their family around.
That's true.
You understand? So just by taking that conscious step to say, I'm done with this. I am better than this. There is better out there in life.
Yeah, sure. I love that so much. And I now want to get into the entrepreneurship and the workplace and the corporate side of things.
No problem.
And I'm curious to know from you. I mean, I know part of empowering a woman is basically having her lie in her femininity, which is like stepping into just who you truly are. But I remember when I started in the corporate world, it's like there was almost pressure to behave like the men.
Yes.
And to be like so macho, so hardcore, and. How do we step into our workplace roles in our femininity? Like, how do we do that?
Okay, firstly, you need to obviously believe in yourself. You need to value yourself. You need to know what your values are and what you stand for.
Yeah.
So that when you are fighting that battle, you know who you are.
Yeah.
So that if, for example, I'm in a man-made industry as well, and I've made it here. We've made it this far. Women have come so far from where we were back then, you know. So I think having confidence, building your confidence, being confident in who you are, and not worrying about men and women. Worry about what it is that you bring to the table. I think that that's what we need to focus on. I always say, focus on your road. If you believe in yourself and you have that confidence
Yeah.
and you have the skill and you know you can, why not? You understand? There will always be people that will try and bring you down in life. That happens all the time. But if you focus on people's judgment and you focus on what everyone is telling you that is negative, you won't achieve what you need to achieve.
Sure.
You need to look within yourself.
I love that so much because it speaks into like your first point, which is really getting to know yourself and taking
Yes.
stock on how you were raised and how did that affect you.
Yes.
How did you come about kind of maybe picking up those traits from your mom and maybe like picking up the mistakes that she made and how you are going to now make it different, etc., etc. What was there an incident that happened that awakened you to like taking stock of everything, or you always consciously aware of what was happening?
I was consciously aware of what was happening. But the thing is, it was just that drive that I needed to wake up one morning and say that I'm going to change the perspective of women not being able to voice their what they feel inside.
Yeah.
Because my mom died with a heart attack.
Sure.
Now, a heart attack stems from stress, from bottling things up, from, it stems from a lot, health issues as well.
Yeah.
But it stems from that. So I said to myself that I am not going to be a woman that's in silence. And also being in that relationship, I was oppressed. I always felt like I can't use my voice.
Yeah.
And even speaking to people out there, I used to feel intimidated. Like, should I say this? What if when they look at me, what are they going to think
Like
of me?
constantly second guessing
Yes,
yourself. Yeah.
constant imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
So for me, the wake up call was just I woke up one day. I had it in my subconscious, but I woke up one day and I said, I'm changing this narrative. I'm changing this narrative, and I really feel that women need to have a voice. There's so many women dying out there. There's a lot of, femicide, GBV happening, and it's only becoming a big thing now.
Yeah.
But back in the day, you were hiding that pain. You were hiding those bruises. You were hiding what it is that you were feeling inside.
Yeah.
So you could not seek help. But now there are lines that there are people out there that you can reach out to that can give you that assistance.
Yeah. I love that so much. There's a guest we once interviewed on the podcast, and she said something so powerful that telling your story is as good as reaching out your hand to hold someone's hand and pull them up.
Very true.
Because sometimes we are stuck in the fact that maybe I'm the only one going through this.
That's very
and
true.
then only when you've spoken out, you realize that there's actually a lot of other people who have been through it and have actually come out.
Yes.
And that's so important with like women being able to tell these stories. But how do we, as women, as a start, create a safe space for women? Because in the whole idea of us being able to talk about the things we care about the most, there is obviously the conversation around women not being safe spaces to each other. There's gossip. There's all these other things. You see it in the workplaces. There's drama. You see it, there's like skinnering and all those things. How do we hold space for each other?
Okay, for example, with me, my community that I'm building, and even with the events that I have, there are those type of women that want to help each other. You need to find those type of communities, because yes, there will be women competing with each other. I find that a lot, instead of helping each other. And that is a message that I want to drive across to all women, is don't compete with each other. We are all unique. We have our own specific purpose. The purpose lies within us. So why compete? Why not work together? Because empowerment and empowering people out there is not done by one person. It's done as a collective. So if we can stand in unity as women and fight to see that change, because women are the nurturers of the nation. And if we can build women, we can grow our nation. So for me, I create that safe haven. I'm not saying that you will find it everywhere, because it's not. Everyone's got their own mindset, their mentality of how it is that they deal with things, the judgment. Because sometimes when you talk to a friend, and I found that a lot with everything that I went through, when you talk to a friend, then that friend will go and tell the next
The other friend,
or they will judge you, and they will say, oh, look at her, shame, she's going through that situation.
Yes.
But they won't step in as friends and say,
help.
how can we assist her grow? How can we assist her by even just being a support system?
Yeah.
Not necessarily financially or whatever, but just being there, because
Yeah.
that's all you need, a rock.
That's so powerful, because if you find yourself sitting with your group of friends and all you guys are doing is talking about other people, then there's something
Yes.
wrong, when you guys should be talking about
Yes.
uplifting each other, or
Exactly.
uplifting somebody you've all noticed has, let's say, like a common problem or whatever the case is.
Very true.
So I love that so much. How do we then, let's say in the workplace,
Mm-hmm.
create a safe space for women? How I want to know, how do we create a safe space for women, but also still driving the KPIs that we need to drive, you know, and like not making it, I want to say ridiculous, but maybe that's not the right word, but not making it almost the crutch that people use to not getting any work done.
Okay, firstly, your staff needs to be motivated. They do. They need to understand the purpose of why they are having their role that they have, and that they have a role to play, and that they are a part of a chain. So collectively, if you are motivated and you feel that you are being heard in a workplace, then obviously that you're bringing ROI, it'll come naturally, because you will know what you're fighting for. You will have a vision. You will know where you're headed. You understand? So for me, it stems a lot from people sometimes having a role, for example, like a receptionist. I'm a receptionist, but I've got skills in sales. I'm a mad salesperson, and I know that. So what am I doing to get out from where I am to be where I want to be, to grow within the company? You understand? And also, if companies can work more on focusing on mental health, having wellness programs, whether it's once a month, you know, that would also make staff feel like they're heard, that they're important, that they actually matter. Because no matter if it's a cleaner, a receptionist, or a driver, we all add to one goal, which is the company rising, but you as a human being also need to be uplifted.
That's very true. Your people need to be motivated. I think for me, I struggle with that, because as much as people need to be motivated, people are motivated by different things.
Yes.
So how do we find common ground to a central motivation that's going to keep everyone going?
Okay, so yes, everybody is motivated with different things, but everybody wants to come to work and feel content
Right.
with their work environment. Okay, so what type of work environment are people producing? Is it a work environment where I have to have fear to come to work? Like I know of a company where when people come, they get sworn at and all that types. So what environment are you setting? What's the culture of your company? What are you setting? What tone are you setting for your employees? Because regardless of everyone wanting different needs, you cannot please everyone. But you are in a role that you are placed there for different reasons, whether you need financial aid or you need a salary at the end of the month, you need to feed your family, or whether you're there because you have a passion for that specific role.
Yeah.
You see, so there's different aspects of it. So it's all about coming to a place where you feel, you know, that you are heard, and that you understand the vision and you know what you're working for. That's it. Because I see a lot, like, for example, people that are nurses, for example, they're there because some of them are there because they need a paycheck. But then you get those that will actually say, oh, my darling, how are you? Would you like some water? Sit down here. And then you get those others that will say, just sit down there. We'll attend to you. You see, that's the difference. How do they feel at work, and why are they doing what they're doing?
Yeah.
It's really, we can delve really deep into it. There's a lot to it.
I love what you just mentioned around the culture, like treating people well. And those are just the basics.
Just
it's
the
like
basic.
It motivates somebody to be in an environment where they can feel at ease,
Yes.
where they feel relaxed, and where they feel calm. I think that would be so important. I love that you mentioned that you're a salesperson and you love selling, because, you know, I love sales with all my heart, and I love talking about all things selling. And what I love, which is basically the message we always put around, is that you're always selling.
Yes.
Whether you're at reception or you're at the back of the office or you
That's
are in
very
the parking,
true.
like you are always selling because you're part of an experience. And I'm curious from you, with the position that you hold and being a sales maniac in your position, what kind of basic skills have you learned that you apply that you actually see work to the betterment of the business?
Okay, so I'm very confident. I'm a very positive person and I'm a go-getter. So I don't lay down and die when things get tough. I see the obstacles and I always tell my team, I always tell everyone, focus on the solution.
Yeah.
Don't harbor on the problem
Yes.
because things can be resolved and it also takes a positive mindset. So I really believe very deeply that mindset is powerful.
It's key.
Yeah, and motivation and enjoying what you do, love what you do, have a passion for what you do, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that so much. And having a passion with what you do is so important because you mentioned earlier, like some people are just there because of the paycheck.
Yes, that's
And
true.
maybe they don't thoroughly enjoy that and they kind of feel stuck in it. But I think there's so much opportunity in being able to just finding the love in it.
Yes.
You know? So I'm also curious to get a little bit more into your journey around how you got to where you are right now. You mentioned to us a little bit about what happened with your mom, but from a professional, because I like now being an empowerment specialist, like this has become a business for you and you helping
Yes.
drive a specific message to women. But before that, what did your career look like? And how are you supporting women within their careers or empowering them within their careers?
Okay, so I was running a travel agency, Harvey World Travel. I ran a whole branch. But prior to that, when I entered in the company, I was within the company for 10 years and I grew within the company. You know, I always wanted to know, I was very curious to know the different roles and how it all fits into one.
Yeah.
So when I ran the travel agency, I mainly had women working for me. So it was like they always say you manage with the carrot or the stick, you know? And I loved managing with the carrot because I felt like I got so much more
Yeah.
out of it, you know? So that was me. And then whilst I was there, I was promised a whole lot of stuff like directorship and stuff. And then I just felt like I could do more. I could do more because I wasn't achieving what I wanted to achieve in my
Yeah.
personal life. So that's when I registered a branding company, the man-made industry.
Yeah.
And I started off like small, you know. I started off small and then I just grew along the years, which this was 2016. And then when COVID hit, I opened a salon. So for me, the salon was like my baby because I love women and women go to salons and they just like pour their hearts out
Yeah.
and it's just like it becomes like a conversation and you feel like,
Yes.
oh my word, okay, do women really go through this, you know?
Yes.
And from that, I really had a passion to just being there for women, listening to their stories, giving them advice. And for me, that was my baby. And I felt like, although I did make it in the man-made industry, the company has been growing, you know. It does take dips, obviously. But I felt like the salon for me was the one because I love working with women. It's a passion. And as long as I can put a smile on someone's face or I can make a difference, I can see a change, that is what burns within me and throws me out of bed in the morning.
Yeah.
So from that, yeah, then I fully went into women empowerment.
Yeah.
And then I started with the events. I started helping women. I have friends as well that have contacted me, like with helping them in their journey with the difficulties and the challenges that they go through on a
Yeah.
day-to-day. So when women tell me, oh my gosh, you really helped me, you know, I really feel that, you know, there's a change in my life. I see things in a different perspective. That is what made me feel like I can make a difference. I can make a change. So why must I live my life just on the bottom line? There's so much more to life.
True.
So much more.
True. Sure. I love that. And I think what I'm getting a lot from the things you're saying is that women empowerment is not overrated. It's
not.
important and it's key.
It's vital.
And you need to have sisterhood. You need to kind of insert yourself into a community that is actually going to be able to support you.
Yes.
Sure.
But
I
in
love that.
action, lots of action.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
So
love that.
yeah.
That is so true. My last question to you is how can men be part?
That's an important one.
Yeah, very important. How can men be part of empowering women? Yeah, let me leave it there.
Okay. There's many different ways. Firstly, as a
Give
support,
us money.
give us lots of money.
Give us lots of money. Give us an increase. If there's an allowance, please increase it. Give us lots of money. Okay.
No stress.
Yes.
Please.
Let's start there.
Hey.
Yeah.
So I would say being a support system, men play a huge role in women's lives.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, like you said, men oppress women not to achieve what it is that they need to achieve, because it feels like a competition now to say that, okay, this is where women are growing and what they're growing to become, what they're aspiring to be. She's very confident with like what's going on with this woman. Once you uplift yourself, there's a change there, and men notice that.
Yes.
So by them supporting you, by them listening, by them encouraging you, you understand, by them just being there to say, I will do this. I will take care of the kids tonight. I know you have a meeting. You know, that is a very important role that men can play.
Yeah.
You know, and once men actually stop looking at a woman as a competition and start thinking that if I boost my woman, if I boost my wife, my partner, you know, we can grow further together. Because you won't be growing by yourself.
Yeah.
Your family grows with you. So by a woman growing doesn't mean that a man must feel any less. They should actually feel proud that my woman is growing, you know. She's developing herself. She's not needy. She's not dependent solely on me. You understand? So listening more, supporting more, and being critical, like giving proper criticism. I mean, if you feel that the woman is going in the wrong path, for example, because that does happen. Sometimes us women, you know, not every time that you make a decision that's perfect. So if you have that partner that will guide you and say, babe, you're going the wrong path, you know, you need to go a little bit like this, whatever the case may be. That's just support. Support the woman in all aspects.
Sure.
I mean, even in the workplace, you know, I remember when the position came about for me to be a branch manager. The position was actually open within the company, and I was working with a gentleman at that time, and he didn't take the steps to apply for the position. So when I got that position, he felt inferior. And that is the problem that we face. You shouldn't feel like that. You didn't want the position. A woman got the position. Let's work together and grow together. You understand? Because by growing the department, everybody wins.
Yeah.
You see? So people don't often look at it in that form.
Yeah, sure. That's so powerful, and I'm actually intrigued. I know I said last question, but this is my last question.
Okay.
I'm actually intrigued to know how you've seen this play out better from a religious point of view. I think I love when you said, you know, we are partners. There's no competition. But there are obviously religious connotations that people have misinterpreted to oppress women and to make women feel like they're underneath their thumb. And as a woman who does not want to step out of her religion, but wants to be empowered, you know, what does that look like for them?
Well, they don't necessarily have to step out of the religion and now go and be a boss of a company, because everyone has like different dreams, different aspirations.
That's true.
But developing you as a human being, there shouldn't be a barrier to that. Because yes, even if I'm a stay-at-home mom and I want to develop myself, I want to know more, I want to learn, I can do online sales, I can do something without having to go out there. You understand what I'm saying? But I am taking that action to develop myself. And by me developing myself, I'm helping my family. I'm more confident. And I can. Women can. So yes, there are religious barriers, but there's no religious barriers in developing yourself as a human being.
Sure. What do you think your mom would say to you
today? That's a deep question. She would probably say, I'm so proud of you.
Sure.
I'm so proud of you because, you know, she was a loving person who I don't mean to get emotional.
Okay.
She was just loved by everyone, and by me taking action to live my purpose and being authentically me, I'm pretty sure she would have been very proud.
Yeah. Sure. I am definitely sure she is too.
Thank you.
Katya, thank you so much for joining us on the Resonate podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Sure, this is a soul food. I feel so calm. This is so
It's
at
definitely
ease.
been a blessing.
Yeah, it's such a different podcast episode than what we normally have, but I enjoyed this. Thank you so much for sharing yourself, your story, and your expertise.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Sure. Resonate community. I hope that you enjoyed that as much as I did, because it was definitely soul food, a great way to actually close off August Women's Month. And as we step into the rest of the months, we will be bringing you guys more episodes that are filled with a lot of business, a lot of sales, and everything else that we do. But sometimes we need to take a moment to pause a little bit and reflect. And I hope that you've enjoyed all the podcast episodes we've actually issued out for Women's Month. We love you guys so much, and we'll see you guys on our next podcast episode. Goodbye.